Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of our One Platform series, where we explore why every part of HR works better together. My name is Emma, and I'm part of Elmo's marketing team. If you joined us last week for recruitment and onboarding, unfortunately, you are stuck with me again. However, I'm so excited to be joined by my colleague Ganesh. He's an Elmo solution consultant and works very closely with our customers to help them get the most value out of the Elmo platform, and he'll be showing us a demo today. So, hi, Ganesh.
I'm a pleasure to be here and welcome to all the attendees. Hope you're having a good week.
Awesome. Today, we're diving into one of the most high stakes, high stress periods in the HR calendar, which I'm sure is going to be very soon approaching for a lot of you. It does creep up, the performance review season and the salary decisions that follow. Before we dive in, I just wanted to do a quick housekeeping note. The session is being recorded, so if you do want to jump off early or want to share it with your colleagues, you will receive the recording on Monday. You are on listen mode only, so if you do have any questions throughout the session, please pop them in the Q&A. We'll try and answer them live at the end of the session or throughout the demo. But if we don't get to you, we will follow up with you after the session. I would first start to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting today. For me, that's the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay respects to elders past, present, as early innovators and acknowledge their significant contributions to science and technology throughout land, water, and culture. Just a quick recap on what we're covering today: how to run a structured performance cycle with visibility and accountability, then how those performance outcomes can flow into remuneration without the spreadsheet rabbit hole, building a remuneration framework to empower line managers, and then finally, Ganesh will take you through a live demo of the Elmo platform, and then we'll finish off with Q&A. Before we dive in, for anyone new to Elmo software, we've been supporting Australia and New Zealand organisations for over 20 years as a complete workforce platform. That's exactly why we created this webinar series, because many HR teams come to us wanting to eliminate that double handing and manual workarounds that are costing hours every week, especially at crunch times like performance and pay review cycles. Now, I'd like to start by asking a quick question about your last performance and salary review process. There will be a poll that just pops up in a second. So take a moment to click on your answer and we'll wait for a few responses to come through. It looks like a couple of you are clicking on the don't ask. I'm still recovering, I'm sure. I won't ask any further questions about that then. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Looks like most are in that spreadsheet heavy, lots of price chasing and rekeying. So that's exactly what we're here today to solve and tackle off that handoff between performance and remuneration. So, what does the data tell us? From Elmo's 2025 HR Industry Benchmark Report, we surveyed 1,200 HR professionals in Australia and New Zealand. The average expected salary increase is 5% across Australia and New Zealand. We will be releasing our 2026 version very soon, so it'll be very interesting to compare what this data looks like. We also do an employee sentiment index, which surveys employees, and it's no surprise to me that remuneration and incentives remain the top choice, the top factor influencing job decisions. And more organizations are taking a data-driven approach, linking salary adjustments to performance and market benchmarks rather than subjective decision making. So when this process is run across disconnected spreadsheets and email chains, it's not just painful, which some of you said in the last poll, it creates a real risk at the exact moment you're making those high impact decisions. Let's put some more real numbers on this disconnect. Let's say you're spending 2 to 3 weeks twice a year preparing for those performance and pay review cycles. That's around 90 hours annually just on spreadsheet administration. And that's even before the real risk comes in. Managers proposing increases without clear guardrails, performance decisions made without context because rating and remuneration data lives in separate places. But the most expensive part, when performance and pay are disconnected, you're effectively rewarding people blind. I'm going to hand off to Ganesh now, who's going to show you what happens when performance assessment and remuneration run as one connected workflow.
Thanks, Emma. This time if I remember to unmute myself. Excellent. What you're about to see is not just about replacing your performance review approach. It's about connecting those dots that should never have been separated in the first place. Elmo connects three solutions that create this transformation: performance management with structured review cycles and goals, succession planning to identify pipelines, critical roles, and readiness, and remuneration for salary reviews and budget modeling. When these work together, something really powerful happens. The spreadsheet rabbit hole becomes a structured workflow, and reactive talent decisions become strategic workforce planning. Let me show this through the eyes of someone living this problem right now. All right, we've got Alice over here. Meet Alice. She is the HR business partner at a financial services firm with about 180 employees across four divisions. She owns the end-to-end process, right from performance reviews through to salary decisions. Right now, Alice is the human glue holding it all together. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way, considering the how you responded to the poll. Every cycle, she falls down the same rabbit hole, except instead of Wonderland, it's a maze of spreadsheets, email chains, and files called final version 1.1. We've all been guilty of that. So, when performance review season kicks off, the manual marathon begins. Alice splits one master spreadsheet into 15 to 20 versions, chases managers for weeks on end, finally manages to merge it all back together with a bit of VLOOKUP roulette. She is a bit of an Excel when it comes to spreadsheet. Next comes the remuneration pivot, exporting ratings and rekeying them into a separate salary spreadsheet just to get the pay conversation started. In the interim, finance keeps asking, are we still in budget? Have we overshot it? And Alice does not have a clue. Approvals live in email chains, salary letters become a late night word mail merge endeavor, weeks disappear, and the conversation stays stuck on admin mode. As a result, Alice, about twice a year, she spends about 3 to 4 weeks in this process, but the results are pretty much decisions made on stale data. There's weak linkage, if at all, between performance and payroll decisions, and budget risks that are discovered only when it's too late. Now, let's look at Alice's new Wonderland. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Excellent. Hopefully, you can all see my screen. Let me know if that's the case, Emma. Yep,
Yes, I can see your
I can see
screen.
you nodding. Now, before we start the demonstration, just wanted to mention that I'll be toggling between two screens over here today. So if I keep looking up, looking towards the ceiling, there's no spider there, not checking for bugs. My second monitor is just up there, hovering like a giant tech cloud, and that's the reason why. But moving on to the demonstration, this is where Alice starts now. Instead of spreadsheets, she's launching structured review cycles and Elmo performance. Elmo provides pre-built performance appraisal templates that Alice can dip into. She can configure to match her organization's process. She can choose from multiple templates such as annual performance reviews, probationary appraisals, performance improvement plans, and more. And this is where something really powerful happens. The performance review is now not just about looking backwards. It's not a tick box exercise at the end of the year. Alice would be able to configure elements such as goals at the beginning of the year, and this is where Elmo's pre-built Smart Goals library can really help. Alice would also be able to set up collaborative checkpoints, such as the mid-year review that you see over here, where managers and employees can get together at defined intervals to make sure that they are checking up on the employee's progress. When Alice launches the review cycle, automated notifications can go out to to all the stakeholders involved. In fact, that can be the managers, that can be the employees, to make sure that they're alerted whenever the cycle is open and they receive subsequent reminders as well. Once Alice makes performance appraisals live, employees and managers can now work on their reviews. So let's log in as Luca, an employee, and have a quick look at what Luca can do. Once the template is assigned to Luca, Luca would now be able to review all the information, and that can include goals. Luca is in the sales team, so the achieving revenue targets has automatically been added to Luca's performance template. If need be, Luca, in discussion with your manager, can also add additional goals to support your career development within the organization. And as the year progresses, because the goals are all smart format, Luca would then be able to start indicating to the system how they're going when it comes to those measures, how much has been completed, and start using those notes as well to record evidence of how they're progressing.
Awesome. Ganesh, I can see the development plan there. What does that look like for Luca? Does that mean he can input his own development plans here?
Great question there, Emma. And this is something that clients typically ask. Elva supports performance development plans. And what is really beneficial over here is that those plans can be tailored to specific goals and competencies. So Luca's manager might feel that Luca actually needs a bit of a push there when it comes to achieving revenue targets. So that can then be created as a development objective, and the best part about this is that this can then integrate with the learning module. So Luca would then be able to request for a specific course that can really help them when it comes to achieving revenue targets. Good question. Excellent. Towards the end of the process, Elmo can also calculate the final scores for the appraisal that can then be used in succession planning and remuneration. So these are the scores that can actually feed in to other modules as well. By the way,
Awesome.
oh,
Just a
sorry.
quick one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Go
Question,
ahead, go
Ganesh.
ahead. Yeah,
What about, let's say, those informal conversations that happen? Like, can the system record that continuous conversations throughout the year between managers and employees?
totally. As we saw at the beginning, where Alice could support those checkpoints. So essentially, we can have those mandatory meeting periods between employees and managers. We can have them configured at defined intervals. The best part about these exercises is that those conversations need not be combative; they can be collaborative. So we can have defined questions asked of the employee and manager, and these can then be recorded as part of the employee's performance template.
Awesome. And then does the system also support 360 reviews or potentially improvement plans?
Correct. The sky is the limit. What we've shown is just the tip of the iceberg. Clients can set up templates for performance improvement plans, 360 reviews, and those reviews, by the way, can be anonymous as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Excellent. Now, keep in mind that Alice has done the groundwork. Now she can breathe easy with performance templates. It's all running. But Emma, knock knock.
Who's there?
Now, it's the execs who urgently want information regarding appraisals. Specifically, they want to know how many appraisals are overdue. This is where Elmo provides standard reports, but thanks to the recently AI-powered analytics, Alice can ask natural language queries of Elmo and get information in real time. So over here, Alice would be able to quickly ask of Elmo how many total overdue appraisals and ignore the number. It's my test demo site. That's why that's a lot.
Well, she's got a
Um,
lot of chasing to do if it's 164, that's for sure.
Completely. But also keep in mind that ads can go further and get a breakdown by department. The system automatically understands that it's related to the previous query and it breaks it down. And yes, typos work too. I have done a lot of typos, they still go ahead.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome. What else can you ask it
Good
in terms of
question.
prompting?
We've got the marketing team. Thank you, Emma. You've all set up a list of prompts that the clients can then use to ask specific questions. And thanks to this, Alice now does not have to go through VLOOKUP. There's no merging. There's no nasty surprises. Everything is built by the platform. And if need be, she can also utilize the dashboards that Elmo provides to provide all this information to the execs out there.
Wow, that looks awesome. I guess now that Alice has done the performance picture, how can she make those smarter people decisions, like who's getting a promotion or potentially who's a flight risk?
That's a good one. This is where performance becomes a planning tool. Performance scores can feed into succession planning. So Alice would be able to map out critical roles, assess readiness, and prioritize retention before it becomes an exit interview surprise. Um, Once performance scores have been fed into succession plans, managers, so Luca is also a manager, managers would then be able to flag specific roles as critical. This is important because these are the positions where a sudden resignation would hurt. So Alice would be able to then go ahead and make sure that these positions have the right talent pool. Managers would also be able to indicate to the system how critical are their employees, how big of a flight risk are they, and when it comes to their readiness within the organization, how ready are they when it comes to promotions? Are they long-term promotable, short-term promotable? These are all pretty much configurable within the platform. And once this is in place, this is where the fun begins for Alice. Alice would then be able to filter employees based on those criteria that managers have put in. So in this case, Alice can have a quick look at who's highly critical and who's a big flight risk in the organization. That's my internet. Yep, there you go. We've got Quentin. So Alice can then start asking those important questions of Quentin, how they would like to grow, what are their interests. And this is where they would also be able to assign learning and, if need be, add them to the specific talent pools, maybe those positions that the managers have ranked as critical. So there's always a healthy talent pool within the organization.
Awesome. Is there an easy way to visualize this across different employees?
Correct. You're stealing words out of my mouth there, Emma. Thank you for that. We provide the 9 box grid for the organizations, and this is where Alice can immediately identify key insights like who are the emerging leaders, who's a solid performer, and that's Dia. Alice can also see that there are 3 future leaders, and it'll be well within her interests to make sure that those 3 future leaders are consistently feeling valued within the organization. And this is how you future proof your organization, right? So you've got smoother transitions, you've got minimized disruptions. Alice has now gone from chasing people to complete their performance plans to having strategic discussions with the employees and their managers regarding career development.
Awesome. Can you now show us how this all connects to remuneration?
Right. It's always show me the money, right? Jerry, hopefully there are some Jerry Mega fans in the audience. I'm a huge one. So it's time for salary reviews. What would happen in the old world? Alice now has to export the performance data into CSV. She needs to open a different spreadsheet, copy everything across, high risk, massive time sink. Not anymore. In the new world, Alice does not have to make decisions in a vacuum. She can now get the system to make recommendations based on performance and market data that can be brought into the system. Over here, you can see that Alice can easily sync performance with remuneration, and to help her with the REM process, she would then be able to select the performance templates that need to be applied for that particular year's remuneration. And once that is done, managers now have the ability to go ahead and have a quick look at information such as performance ratings. So this is where the performance ratings can then be fed in from Elmo Performance Friday Brains performance module there. They can get to see information such as the compa ratios, and the system does provide a recommended salary as well. And if the managers are happy with that, they can look at the budget and then they would be able to distribute the budget, which then make sure that based on the recommended salaries, that is spread across the team.
Awesome. So just Ganesh here, just to confirm, based on that performance rating data, the platform is making that recommendation based on their salary increase?
Correct. There can be matrices and data modeling that can be built in the back end. And again, this can be different for different organizations. Every organization's they've got their own criteria, right? So that can be based on that. But yes, the system can absolutely go ahead and calculate the recommended salary for employees.
Awesome. And I just want to pause here because there's someone asking in the chat, considering managers can provide input, can the system help prevent bias amongst managers and keep decisions consistent?
Yes. So we can have business rules built in the back end. And what that translates to is a traffic light policy for managers. So right now, you can see that Luca is within policy. It's all green, good to go. But let's say Luca goes in and says, you know what, Quentin has been absolutely amazing this year. And I believe that Quentin or even Lisa deserves a 7%. The system flags that. It says, that's fine, but I still need a business case for the justification. But if Luca goes ahead and says, actually, Lisa deserves a 15%, the system would be like, you know what, that's not even within our business rules. We can't go ahead with this. And what we find with clients, especially with these sort of arrangements, is that it can help prevent that unconscious bias among those managers.
Awesome. And then just a question someone's asked,
Yeah.
can Alice, or I guess, can HR support different bonus structures here?
Absolutely. Elmo remuneration supports both discretionary bonuses and calculated bonuses for your STIs and LTIs. Managers would then be able to provide a discretionary bonus, or something that a lot of the clients appreciate would be the calculated bonuses, where bonuses can be tied to performance outcomes literally. In this case, we can have rules set up to say that, hey, unless the employee achieves more than 40 or 50% of their individual performance, their bonus should not appear. So if, unfortunately, if Liz has fallen short a bit, the system automatically calculates their bonus as zero. So we can have those rules in place. And by the way, as it is with the previous modules, even with remuneration, automated alerts will always be available to keep everyone on track. Excellent. The last bit when it comes to remuneration would be the approval. What happens to Alice? Like at this point in time, the managers are doing bulk of the action. When can Alice come into the picture? This is where Alice would then be able to have a quick look at all the remuneration recommendations that have come in to the system. So Alice at any point in time would be able to have a quick look, and if everything is fine, she would have audit trails as well to make sure that everything is on track. She would be able to sign off on the recommendations.
Awesome. And then I guess this would also be configured that the ELT or extended leadership team would be able to do the approval process too.
Absolutely. The key part about remuneration is that the approval workflows can be easily configured. So that might be the line managers leading up to Alice, and then leading up to the CFO, and then leading up to the CEO. Absolutely configurable within the platform. Yeah.
And then what about keeping employees informed about the remuneration process through, let's say, letters?
That's the, again, stop stealing my words out of my mouth, Emma. Come on. We're moving into the letter generation process over here. Again, a key challenge that clients experience before Elmo is the mail merge. And keep in mind that there can be a lot of errors that can creep in, human errors, and more. I've been a victim of that myself in my previous marketing era. This is where the Elmo's rule-based templates can really help. Alice can configure templates to make sure that each employee can only see information pertaining to them. And those letters are generated as a PDF document, so it cannot be modified post approval and generation. And they can be distributed via email, or they can be sent back to an employee's MyRem. So it's all available within the Elmo portal, going back to that all-in-one platform message. So right now, if you were to have a quick look at the letter for James, we can then have a look at that. So right now it's Elmo branded. James now would be able to have a quick look at the information pertaining to their remuneration, along with the remuneration schedule as well. Do keep in mind that the template is Elmo branded, but clients can have as many templates as they would like set up, and the branding, the wording is all up to them.
Awesome.
Excellent. So yeah, just before we conclude and we move on with the other parts of the webinar there, Emma, remuneration also provides multiple reports for client organizations. One of the key reports that we've seen clients benefit a lot is the gender pay gap. So as part of this particular report, it gives insights into what the gender pay gap is within the organization, and if need be, that can be grouped based on managers, that can be grouped based on departments, locations, attributes like that. That's
Awesome. Thank
pre-
you, Nash.
Thanks for that, Emma. That's pretty much the product demonstration that we wanted to cover, and hopefully the attendees were able to see the relation between performance and how that feeds into succession and remuneration. But let's get back into Alice's world now.
Hopefully
Excellent.
you can see my screen okay, Ganesh.
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
Give me a second. There we go. Yeah, now we can see it. Right. So at this point in time, we've got, let me show you what the transformation means for Alice and for the managers and leaders she has to bring along for the ride. You can see the before and after. It's pretty self-explanatory over there. There's been a lot of time spent by Alice prior to the transformation, and as a result of the transformation, there's a lot of time saved. There's making sure that everything flows across, right from performance to REM and succession. Now, Alice has transitioned from being a spreadsheet administrator to a strategic HR business partner. She's having talent conversations, as we saw with Quinton, and building those succession pipelines, not just merging spreadsheets and chasing managers twice a year. This is what happens when performance, succession, and remuneration work as one connected platform. Emma, I think it's time to get back to you.
Ganesh, thank you so much. Thank you for walking us through the platform and answering all of my questions. And I'm sure I was stealing your thunder a little bit there. Before we go into the takeaways and the Q&A, we just wanted to do a quick poll if you'd like to take any next steps, which I'll launch now. Take a moment to select what best fits you, whether you're just exploring the system, wanting to explore more of the platform through a demo, or if you are a current customer with further questions. So I'll leave that up while we go into the takeaways that we'd like you to leave you with today. So number one, when performance and remuneration live in separate systems, you're not just losing time, you're making critical talent decisions based on sale data and may not be rewarding fairly to your top performance. Two, syncing means performance pay informs pay decisions without manual copying. Flight risk visibility means retention conversations happen before exit interviews. Three, yes, you save hours annually with the right tech, but the bigger transformation is the strategic capability. When you can model salary scenarios, identify talent or identify retention risks, and track budget impact in real time. Because the truth is, every part of HR works better together. That's the power of one complete platform. Awesome. Let's go into Q&A time. So let me get up the questions. Bear with me 1 second. Ganesh, someone has asked, can you only show certain sections in performance that are only visible for managers, such as using it for probation reviews?
Yes, and I think I know the use case what they're referring to. I've seen this happen with client templates where managers are asked pointed questions like, can this employee pass probation? Absolutely. So you can have manager and admin only sections within Elmo Performance. Yeah.
Awesome. What happens if you need to run off cycle salary reviews, such as promotions?
With the latest development in the remuneration, it's absolutely possible. What admins can do is that rather than have it for the whole organization, they can choose a certain cohort of employees and then continue with the remuneration process. So, yes, that's a yes as well.
Awesome. Facility as well has asked, can the system sync the performance data directly from the remuneration module? So no CSVs there?
Correct. Yes. It's directly from the performance module. Yeah.
Awesome. And then I'm just going through. Crystal has asked, can you purchase the remuneration module on its own? You absolutely can. Um, as oftentimes remuneration is a one-off process.
Correct.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
just keep in mind that if they do purchase RAM on their own, then performance data would have to be brought in using import templates. Yeah.
correct. And then where are we at time? Oh, 1 minute to go. Let me look through this quickly. One of my employees needs a push and help for their goals. What can the system do to support?
Ooh, I think they're referring to the development plans that we might have showcased. Maybe a full-fledged demo might help, but essentially what the system can do is that you can have, let's say for a particular goal, they need development. We can have a development action plan tailored to that particular goal. And maybe you're looking at a workshop or an Elmo learning for the employee to help achieve those goals. Typically, we see clients go for a 70-20-10 sort of a development plan approach. So absolutely possible. Yeah.
Awesome. We've just reached 11 a.m. So I'm just going to launch a feedback session for today's, and I promise it's the last poll that I'll launch today. Your input's really valuable here. We'll continue to improve based on your feedback. So we'll leave that up for a little bit. Any last words, Ganesh?
This was fun. Uh, this
We
was
hope
good.
we hope that Alice in Wonderland wasn't too much. We tried to have a little bit of fun with it.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for everyone joining us. We will be doing a next session on learning and compliance in 2 weeks' time. So if you'd like to come along with that, we'll leave the registration link in the follow-up email. You'll also get the recording in that email as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks all. Have a great day and a
Thank
good weekend.
you. Bye.